You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Wednesday the 25th of June 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. A very, very tired and jet-lagged wannabe writer. So I actually released yesterday's podcast effectively in the wee small hours because that's when I recorded it. And there was a side of me that thought I should stick it on a timer. And I thought, no, it's the time it's going out is real. So I did. And what did I do since then? I basically had something to eat in Singapore and slept. And then worked home. And yeah, it was nice. Enjoyed it, actually. Long flight. It was supposed to be 13 hours and 5 minutes, but we ended up gaining 20 minutes because there was some weather, and basically there was a bit where we had to avoid a load of thunderstorms, and I actually spoke to the flight crew, and they were literally like, we kept heading further out and further out and further out, and ended up about 120 miles off our projected course. At a use of, they were saying it was something like a ton of fuel for that little detour to avoid all these thunderstorms, which was really interesting. I was the first person to go on, I was in the first group to go on break, but because I'd slept really well before pickup, I didn't sleep on break at all. I mean, it was nice to shut my eyes and, you know, be in a bunk and lying down. But yeah, so it was good, and yeah, I got home just after 8 o'clock, and there was a couple of things that I was due. So there was a shopping delivery. I had Waitrose doing a delivery, and they delivered between 10 and 11, and it was closer to 10, and that's good because I was very tired by then. And also, for some reason, I've been collecting these model starships in this Star Trek collection by a load of by a company called Fan Home, and they're quite good models, but they're very expensive for what they are. And the icing on the cake for me, with how much it's irritating me, was I can't remember who they got to deliver it today. I'll see if I can find out, actually, see if I've got a text message or anything. But I was sitting at home waiting, watching the app, and it was saying, oh, you're 5 doors away from your, 5 deliveries away from you, 2 deliveries away. And then suddenly it disappears. He hasn't knocked on my front door. No, the lazy git has chucked it over the back fence. Luckily it wasn't damaged, but that really gets on my nerves. Yes, there was no effort to even knock on the front door because I was right there. Let's see if I can find out who the courier was. Name and shame, Yodel. Are we really surprised? So I wasn't very impressed by that at all. Yeah, so luckily the thing wasn't damaged. But I'm thinking of cancelling them anyway because I don't really need any more model bloody starships from Star Trek. Although the one that arrived today was the Enterprise G, which is I think the new Enterprise from, well, the former USS Titan that became the Enterprise at the end of Star Trek Picard, I think. I'll have to check that. I could be wrong. But, yeah. So, and the other thing I managed to do, because there was an hour or two on the flight where most of the customers were asleep before I started serving breakfast to them, and I got chapters 33, 34 and 35 read through again, and very pleased with how they're progressing. So there was a couple of little moments in chapter 33 that didn't quite work for me when I first read them. And I've made some alterations now. So one of them was just swapping around a few people in the scene. So there's a moment where one person is key in something vital that happens, and I suddenly realise it makes no sense for it to be them. It should be a different character. And then later on, I've referred to it being that different character. So clearly my brain was already thinking about that. So I've made that alteration. So that was good. There's an impassioned plea about why one of the characters should survive, and it's quite, I'm not going to go into it on here because the character is it's got quite a heart-rending background, and I mean pretty much the worst thing that could have happened to him when he was young did, losing his parents and then worse. So there's this impassioned plea by my non-binary character about why he deserves to live, and it's something along the lines of, he never found himself. He spent his whole life being messed around by people. He doesn't even know who he is yet. I wasn't happy until I worked out who I was. The first however many years of my life were utter shit, but now I've worked out who I am, and I want him to have the same, because he'll be amazing if you just give him that chance. And there's a bit more to it than that. There's a lot more detail than that. But I'd written that scene already, but I added a few bits and pieces, added pretty much a big line of dialogue for Marianne, and I'm very, very pleased with that. And so yeah, the story's really progressing now. I'm not going to get anything signed off today. I'm too tired. It would be foolish to do it. But my plan is, I'm going to power through today, which sometimes is a mistake because I'll probably be exhausted tomorrow as well. But if I can power through today, then I will definitely try and get a chapter, maybe 2, signed off tomorrow. And then also I need to start doing the other ancillary things that I keep talking about but not doing, which is putting my submissions package for Still Life together and submitting more English Ikikomori. Anyway, I'm shattered. That's all I'm going to say today. I'll be back tomorrow with show 150. Well, I say 150. Show 150 for this year, which means it's actually show 350. That's mental, isn't it? Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.